So, hello everyone. Right now, I'd like to present about FEAF framework. Here's the table of contents that my presentation will contain. The first is FEAF framework definition. The second is history of FEAF. The third is advantages of FEAF. And the fourth is collaborative planning methodology. And the last is TOGAF versus FEAF. We move to API framework definition. A federal enterprise architecture framework is the United States reference enterprise architecture of the federal government. It provides a common approach for the integration of strategic business and technology management as part of organization design and performance improvement. The second is history of EPI framework. In September 1999, the Federal CIO Council released the Federal Enterprise Architecture Framework at the version 1.1 for developing enterprise architecture within federal agencies for systems that cross multiple agency boundaries. In May 2012, U.S. Office of Management and Budget published an all-new guide, common approach for federal enterprise architecture. In January 2013, the White House released version 2 of the Federal Enterprise Architecture Framework to government agencies and made it public about a year after they release. And the next is advantages of VPI framework. The first is interoperability. This is the ability of two or more systems or entities to share information accurately. And interoperability helps assist the enterprise in its evaluation of the overall process and deliver cost against itself efficiently. The second is agility. The agility provided by FEIF FEIF assists in an enterprise's ability to act quickly to any unpredictable changes. Over time, changes in politics, processes, and regulation will affect the system already in place, which means it is important for federal agencies to have the flexibility to adapt to new requirements and provide timely responses. The third advantages of EVI framework is the integration. The integration combines the subsection to help various departments to make sure function are compatible and can work together, avoiding any over expenditure and time wasting. The last advantages of FEIF framework is reusability. FEIF reusability means that components can be applied and used across multiple government systems, meaning that different authorities can benefit from the same common parts across the e-government system. The next is collaborative planning methodology, which consists of identify and validate, research and leverage, define and plan, invest and execute, perform and measure. The first definition of collaborative planning methodology, which means that the full of life cycle of planning and implementation at the center of EVIF methodology and working process. The first is identify and validate. The purpose is to identify and assess what needs to be achieved, and the purpose will be outlined alongside the major drivers of the change and the stakeholders. And the planner's role in this activity is the planner will collaborate with the stakeholder and sponsor to outline, validate, and prioritize their needs to come and to a shared understanding of the outcome and what needs to be achieved. The outcome is the performance metrics will be measured to the key stakeholder are and which governance will oversee and approve the any recommended changes. The second activity is research and leverage. The purpose of this activity is to identify whether the organization or service providers have formally faced or are facing similar needs and analyze their experience to determine if the same approaches can be leveraged or if a partnership can be formed. The planner role is facilitate and lead the assessment of the other organization experience and result, and determine whether they have a similar needs. Once those needs have been identified, the planner assesses and determines opportunities for collaboration and leverage. The outcome is to ensure the sponsors, stakeholders, and planners involved have a clear overview and understanding of the experiences and results of the other organization, and whether those can be leveraged to achieve the same need. The next activity is define and plan. Purpose of this activity is to develop an integrated plan consists of what and how it needs to be done, the timeline and how success will be measured, and how much it will cost in the first step. It will include adjustment within all architectural domains, which is strategy, business, data, application, infrastructure, and security. The planner's role in this activity is to responsible for applying analysis and planning method within each of the architecture domain to produce artifact to capture and visualize the changes outlined in the step. The architect will then produce a roadmap that reflects a course of action. The outcome is the outcome of the define and plan stage is the sponsor, stakeholder, and related governance have a cohesive and integrated plan of what will be achieved with clear guidelines as to timeline, cost, and outcome. The next activity is invest and execute. Purpose of this activity is the step that will successfully implement and the planet changes. The investment decision will be made with the various group involved, and the changes defined in the integrated plan will be executed. The planner's role in this activity is to assist in the investment and implementation of all activities by providing support, provisions, and guidance of the integrated plan. The architect may also be required to do further research and analysis, engage stakeholders for feedback, and ensure plans are followed and architectural requirements are met. The outcome of this activity is to move the process forward from planning to implementation. If the investment is not approved, the planner, stakeholder, and sponsor will return to the previous stage, consider the consider new recommendation and alter plans for future consideration. The next activity is to perform and measure. The purpose of this activity is to the final step in the process is to measure and the performance outcome against metrics identified during the earlier stages. The planner role in this activity is collect the result to leverage and assesses whether the implemented capabilities achieve the desired and planned outcomes. The data and feedback collected during this final stage will impact future planning effort and help identify immediate implementation adjustment as required. The outcome is to obtain data and feedback to measure the key performance against identified metrics. This may influence future projects. And here's the differences between TOGAF and FEAF in three categories. The first is orientation. In FEAF, the orientation is enterprise architecture. Otherwise, in TOGAF, focus on IT architecture. The second category is user. In EPIF, the target user primarily US agency, and TOGAF user is more expansive users. And the purpose of EPIF is provide guidance for federal agency. Otherwise, the TOGAF purpose is to help business define and organize requirements before a project start. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you.